who's as adamant about his or her position as I am about mine, whom you think is sharp. Seriously, we know that. And another thing, we heard him say that... Hey sports fans, Larry Elder here, and welcome to another edition of And Another Thing. This is edition number 44, if I'm not mistaken. And if you want to become an Eldorado, go to LarryElder.com, fill out the form, become an Eldorado. You will get a copy of Michael and Me, my feature-length, award-winning documentary where I explore the Second Amendment and where we actually track down the esteemed director Michael Moore. And I asked Mr. Moore 3 times, how many times do Americans use guns every year for defensive purposes? We know how many times Americans use guns illegally, unlawfully. We know how many people are killed because of handguns every year in this country. On the other side of the ledger, I just asked the director 3 times, how many Americans are alive because they're able to get a gun, brandish it, break off an attack, save their life, or save them from bodily injury? So go to LarryElder.com and fill out the form. Now for And Another Thing. Right now, Ted Cruz, the senator from Texas, just wrapped up his 21-hour and change sort of semi-quasi filibuster on the Senate floor. And a bunch of people are hand-wringing, saying that what a waste of time this is, what a shameful display this is. He hijacked the nation. Good Lord. Let me, as Obama once said, unpack some of this stuff. You remember Wendy Davis? Wendy Davis is that state lawmaker in Texas who stood up and gave an 11-hour filibuster. I heard 13 hours. Somebody said 11. Split the difference, make it 12. I don't care. It wasn't nearly as long as Ted Cruz's filibuster. One pundit on, I think it was CNN, called it an epic filibuster. And she was on all the morning shows, including CBS. Charlie Rose interviewed her and wondered whether or not she might even be thinking about running for higher office, perhaps governor, maybe even beyond that, several people said. Ted Cruz stands up there. He filibusters. He's hijacking. He is hammered by the very same people who praised Wendy Davis. Now let's analyze these two filibusteri. In the case of the woman Wendy Davis, she was filibustering against a very popular anti-abortion bill in Texas. 60% of Texans supported the bill that she tried to stop. And within a matter of weeks, Texas passed the bill that she tried to stop. In other words, the filibuster accomplished absolutely nothing other than it made her a national figure. That's not nothing. Maybe that was her goal. I'm not dissing her. I'm just saying that's what happened. Now, look at the filibuster done by Ted Cruz. In Ted Cruz's case, he's filibustering against an unpopular bill, Obamacare, okay? And he's getting hammered for the very same thing that Wendy Davis got praised for. And if the argument is, as many people said in defending Wendy Davis, well, she stood up for principle. She educated people. She enlightened people as to the issue of abortion. Well, what did Ted Cruz do? He stood up. He enlightened people. He even talked about all the economists who don't like Obamacare. I mean, I know nobody listened to the whole 21 hours, but if you did, there was a lot of content in there about how bad this law was, and maybe, just maybe, he might have enlightened a few people. Kyle is from San Diego, California. You recently had Reverend Jesse Jackson on your show, and I was shocked, by the way, Kyle, about that. And you seemed bugged by his answers, weren't you? Can you give us an idea of what was going on in your thoughts during the interview? Most of the time during the interview, I was saying to myself, what the hell is he saying? Because honestly, he didn't answer anything I asked him. If you go back over the interview, which is about 6 minutes long, and you look at the questions I asked him or the statements I made, he either didn't respond or changed the subject. For example, we were talking about minimum wage. And I told him that before the minimum wages were implemented, a black teenager was more likely to have a job than a white teenager. And he just simply ignored that. And I told him that the number one problem facing the country was a large number of children being raised without fathers. I told him that Obama gave a speech a few months ago at Morehouse, and Obama said a kid without a father is 5 times more likely to grow up poor, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, 20 times more likely to be in jail. And Jackson didn't say anything. Started talking about the lack of access to capital. And he started talking about a public offering of shares of stock in Verizon and the fact that not one black person participated in that public offering. Most people don't even know what a public offering is, let alone have sympathy for all of these wealthy blacks who are very connected, went to good schools, which is why they're in that Wall Street game anyway, and they're just pissed off that they're not involved in a given offering. You know, that's like... I hope you enjoyed this small excerpt. If you want to see the full video, got to be in Eldorado. Go to my website, LarryElder.com, log in, fill out the form. It'll cost you about $4.75 a month, or about the price of a mocha frappuccino latte at your favorite coffee house. As you can tell, I don't like coffee. I'm a tea drinker. See you next time.